Without the clones, it would not have been a victory.
Victory? Victory, you say? Master Obi-Wan, not victory. The shroud of the dark side has fallen. Begun. The Clone War has.
I'm Ahsoka?
Obi-Wan, have you trained the boy?
A new power is rising. I've foreseen it.
Should have quit while you were still alive, Dooku.
You cannot deny your feelings, Anakin. They are what make you special.
Here we go.
Is it true that he is the chosen one?
Skywalker is to teach an apprentice, to let go of his pupil. A greater challenge it will be.
Welcome your
And Ashley, how did you find out? Did Dave call you up one day and say, hey, do you fancy coming back into the studio?
Oh, you got a record of this, don't you?
Yes, I do. So I found out in an interesting way, and I haven't quite told the truth of how I first found out, because obviously we live our life always in secrecy. I feel like we've signed our lives away in NDAs, and we're always keeping secrets and trying to be a part of Dave's trust tree. And
there's an implied non-disclosure agreement, the NDA, whenever you work on something that's particularly strong with something that's Lucas oriented.
yes, but as a cast, we're very close. We are like a family, and we are ironclad. So we tell each other things because we know we can. So I'm actually at Disney World in line on a ride, and I get a text from D. Bradley Baker. And I will read it. Here's our text chain.
Well, actually, it's from Captain Rex.
And
I said, you won't believe what Dave just told me. Shh.
and I said, what? With four question marks.
Don't dare even tell anyone I even said anything. Please don't.
And I said, I would never. Is he with you? This feels like a trap.
He is. We're wine tasting with the rebels.
And I said, I thought so. Laugh out loud. Tell him I'm not that easily fooled.
Has he spoken to you?
And I said, no, why?
Afraid to even text.
Are you right, Dave?
And so I said, well, I wouldn't. I hope it's what I think it is.
Tell no one. Jedi promise.
And I said, I promise, but I know Dave is watching.
CW finale, 12 eps, soon.
So that was our text chain. That's how I found out.
Rex had to tell Ahsoka. There's just no way.
Exactly. I mean, if we're not in Dave's trust tree, then Ahsoka and Rex, we have our own trust tree.
Oh. So, moving on. Sam, what's it been like for you going back to the Clone Wars again?
Well, do you remember when we were doing Malachor? And I'm calling you Lady Maul is calling Ahsoka Lady Tano, and there's all this implied history. So me and Ashley go to Dave and we go, so what happened in the siege of Mandalore? Can we please know? Because we're referring to it now. And Dave goes, yeah, you guys would have known, but you don't know, and I'm not going to tell you. And every time that I tried to get him to tell me anything about the siege of Mandalore, he'd be like, no, I'm not telling you. And I always thought that was weird that he wouldn't tell me the way we were supposed to end the Clone Wars. So one day, I was having a nice lunch with Dave and his lovely wife Anne, who the convor is named after. And no one broke any trust trees. It's just that Anne said one thing. And Anne's out there somewhere. Anne said, Dave, can I tell him? And I said,
the trust
and then
tree
Dave
has
said,
fallen.
no. And immediately I'm like, it was like the usual suspects. I'm like, wait a second, hold on. And visions of this siege of Mandalore, Malachor or Mandalore, sorry, a little confused. So I guessed, but I didn't know. And then Dave finally told me, and then I knew for just under I think it was under a year, or at least it felt like a year. It was terrible. That was the worst secret I've ever kept in my entire career. It hurt to keep that inside.
We clearly see who Dave's
So you
favorite
wonder
is.
why only 12 episodes.
Yeah.
We're only doing 12 episodes because it's all they can handle. It's all we can together successfully hold back is 12.
Yeah.
And the trust tree is in a completely separate park and garden than where you guys are. You guys are like the shrubbery that leads you to the tree, and then there's a nice garden gate and an area around the tree. There are even people there that are not in the tree, called production staff, that want to know what's going on, and I only tell them what they need to know, and then there's the actual tree, which I will saw limbs off when I need to.
I feel like after today you're going to be instituting a moat around the tree.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea, Rex.
Yeah. He's revving up his chainsaw as we speak.
I approve of that design. Why don't you and the clones get to work? But this is why you don't know the end of the show, which is really all I've got at this point.
Well, I'm used to that stuff.
A couple different things, technical and story-wise. We revamped the look of the show a tiny bit. The big question was, how do we make Clone Wars, how do we make it better now that we have better technology to animate with? And so we actually redid some of the facial features, just tweaked them a little bit, so the animation will be better on the faces, so that the emotions ring a little truer. So you can see there a before and after in Captain Rex. You probably can't even tell much of the difference. There are just subtle differences in the brow and the nose, and just little things that allow the face to react better. And some of the detail in the costumes we also improved. And we're going to watch a story that is primarily about clones, and it's one that actually diehard fans of the show know, called Bad Batch.
That blast gave away our position.
Although getting shot down gave away our position. Everyone, find cover. We'll hold this position and let them come to us.
I don't think so, Captain. That's not our style. We prefer going to them.
Bad Batch, Plan 82, Shockwave.
Let's get to work. 75, Mark 357. Spider droids, pan out!
Any more? Come on!
Tell us about this, Dave.
Well, today's my day to talk about Mandalorians, so I've got one of my own Mandalorians here, Bo-Katan. Will be back in this arc. She plays a pivotal role, actually, in the Siege of Mandalore, and how she weaves into the story became very important. Katie is back. Katie Sackhoff playing Bo-Katan, which is very exciting. You might have seen her here at the convention. And these are some of my sketches of the Siege of Mandalore when I had the story meetings about it with George. George and I would have meetings with the writers, and we would sit down and kind of beat out the story. And these images are the ones that really lasted with me throughout the whole thing. And some of these I've shared before, but it's worth doing again because all of this has wound up actually in the story that you are going to see in some form or another. Boy, these drawings I did long time ago. There you are, some more of the images. There's her first force pushing Maul back. Always fun. That's a fun little thing that.
Commander. Sir.
They shouldn't salute me anymore. Not since I left the Order.
It doesn't matter to them. It's a sign of respect. They know what you went through for them, day after day. Battle after battle. Loyalty means everything to the clones. Go ahead. They've been waiting to see you. As soon as Rex and the guys knew you were back, they got to work.
The paint job's a little crude, but we think it gets the idea across. Glad to have you back, Commander.
Rex, thank you. But you don't have to call me Commander anymore.
Sure thing, Commander.
No, no, no!
Hello there.
General Kenobi, you are a bold one.
Yes.
Appreciate it, we do. Yeah.
Would you care to as well?
Times at war. Walking around the planet Ryloth and...
Roger, roger.
Yeah. And why do you think it is that Clone Wars resonates with the fans in the way it does? I mean, any of you can comment.
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni. He is brilliant.
Why?
No, I'm saying Dave Filoni.
Saying Dave
Oh,
Filoni.
no. I mean, no. No. Thank you, but like, I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate that. It's very good. Thank you. But in reality, the reason why it works is because I was taught by the master. That's why it works. I was taught by George. I had to sit with him on a regular basis, and he explained these stories to me, and I listened. And for any young person wanting to be in film or any walk of life, when you meet somebody that is more experienced, that could be a mentor, you should listen. You don't need to impress them by trying to say, I already know how to do that. That's not impressive. Listening is impressive. And that was one of the #1 skills that I had, the ability to listen. That you guys like any of this at all is just, to me, always, it just shows you how he really knew, George really knew what he was doing. And he laid a foundation that has been so alive that we still have these celebrations, and you see so many great creative talents now coming on and creating Star Wars, like, you know, working with Jon Favreau now on Mandalorian, and he loves Star Wars, and I talked to him about it. JJ loves Star Wars, we talked about that, and you see this group of people that, like, we love this, you guys love this, let's make more of this, and that's all part of this. It's not any one thing or any one person.
You have to understand that 1 year before Dave was hired to do this, he was cosplaying at a con as Plo Koon.
Yeah, I love Plo Koon. He never got to do much, and then I got to run the Clone Wars, and he did a heck of a lot more. That was weird, but really cool. And George is like, why do you like that guy? I'm like, I don't know, I can't explain it. He's like, I can't explain it either. Yeah, maybe so, maybe so.
I'm not coming back.
You are making a mistake.
Maybe. But I have to sort this out on my own. Without the Council. And without you.
Where exactly are you from?
I used to live in the upper levels of Coruscant.
You're probably better off down here. With the Jedi running around, starting wars.
I've watched so many of my brothers fall during this war. Fives, Echo, Heavy.
Master Yoda, your thoughts on how to win the war?
No longer certain that one ever does win a war. I am.
You'll never see any Jedi around here. It's not safe down here. Things could have gotten messy for you. That's why I've got my ship.
One squadron taken in. Experimental Unit Clone Force 99.
The cavalry has arrived! Howdy! Attention!
Glad to have you back, Commander.
was new.
Maybe a little better. Why are you here?